everyone, it's Amanda from the San Diego Lifestyle, and I'm here today at Canine Companions, an awesome location in Oceanside. They help pair dogs with people with disabilities. So Gino was nice enough to invite us out today to take a look around, get the inside peek, and also take a look at some puppy classes. So let's go check out everything that they have to offer. I'm here today with Gino Spatafor from Canine Companions, and tell us a little bit about where we are and how this got started.
Thanks, Amanda. Well, we're here in Oceanside, just by the San Luis Rey Mission at the Southwest Regional Headquarters for Canine Companions. Canine Companions is a national organization that's headquartered in Santa Rosa, up near the wine country. And it has 6 regional training centers, much like this one, scattered throughout the country, and they're organized geographically. The Southwest region, which is an 8-state region, is we're fortunate to have here in San Diego County and Oceanside. And what we do in Canine Companions is we breed, raise, train, and then give away free of charge highly skilled assistance dogs to adults, children, and veterans with physical disabilities.
Wow. And you said they're mainly Labradors and Golden Retrievers, right?
Yes, they are. The organization, since its inception way back in 1975,
wow.
I should have mentioned that we're the oldest and largest dog and assistance dog organization in the country. But they tried initially different breeds of dogs, and it kind of came out that Labrador Retrievers and Golden Retrievers were the best breeds to have. The operative word there being retriever. A dog is going to like to pick things up, you know. And so the Golden Retriever's ideal because they have a great personality. Labrador Retriever's ideal because they have a work ethic that's second to none. And when you mix those two, you get a very, very adaptable dog, easily trainable. Well, I say easily trainable, it depends on the dog's temperament a lot. But you get quite a fine animal that can really assist disabled people. And as it turns out, about 80% of the dogs now are a cross between Labradors and Golden Retrievers.
And you said they're specifically bred for this program, right? So even from before birth, they're already thought up. And then as they become brand new puppies, then what kind of programs and trainings do they go through at that point?
Good question. Canine Companions has kind of a closed loop system. That is that the dogs are bred and the breeding program is handled out of our headquarters in Santa Rosa. Very scientific, to avoid any issues that might be taking place with crossbreeding and so forth. But as the puppies are born, when they're weaned at about 8 weeks old, they're sent out to any one of the 6 regional training centers. Here at Oceanside, they arrive typically on a Wednesday or a Friday, and they are immediately divvied out to volunteer puppy raisers. Like any nonprofit, or most nonprofits anyway, Canine Companion really depends on volunteers to make the organization go, because we don't get any money from any federal source or anything like that. It's totally dependent on volunteers and donations.
But the volunteers don't get to keep the puppies, right?
No.
What happens?
That's the kind of difficult part. That's why yours truly, Gino Spatafor, isn't a puppy raiser, because it takes a special, not only a special breed of dog, it takes a special breed of person to be able to do what they do. And that is, they pick up the puppy here at 8 weeks old, they take it home with them, they socialize it, they potty train it, they do all those things that you would do with a normal,
take it on walks.
Exactly, all that stuff. And then they bring it here twice a month to the training center to get help with the training. And they're going to teach the puppy by the time they relinquish it after 18 months, about a year and a half old, about 20 to 30 commands that the dog is able to do. But the real key is socializing the puppy and giving it a good place to stay, making sure it's healthy. Then at the end of that 18 months, the hard part comes. That's where the puppy raisers have to turn the puppy in to undergo 6 months of professional training.
Wow.
We call it matriculation. The puppies are turned in right here
so
where
they come
we're
right
sitting.
back here.
They do, and Then they work with professional trainers for about 6 months time frame.
Okay.
And the culmination of all that comes in something we call team training. And that's where the puppies are, or the individuals, the disabled individuals who have risen to the top of the list.
And they've been on this waiting list for a year and a half,
yes,
2 years
it's a lengthy evolution, and because of costs, etc. These costs around $40,000 to $50,000 to get one of these dogs ready to go. But the individuals that have come to the top of the list, they come in here for a 2-week training period. About the first 3 days or so, the group is matched up with a group of dogs, and maybe there's 4 or 5 more dogs of what the group of recipients are. And then at that point, the people are starting to get an idea about which dog they'd like to get. And the staff here knows the dogs very well because they've kept track of the dogs in records and training reports since day one. So they know who's going to be best to help out a person with a certain disability. And it's surprising, or so I'm told, that how well it works out.
Yeah.
And so the people are assigned a dog. They're, I think 99% of the time, they're very happy with the dog they got assigned. And from that point forward, for the next 10 days of team training, they're with that dog. And it's not an easy kind of show up and task sort of evolution. It's very difficult. It's very time consuming. We want to make sure that the individuals get what they need to get out of the dog. We want to make sure that the dog is going to be well taken care of by the individual, and they know what to do. So there's practical exams and written tests and so forth.
You said that they come and they stay right here on site with the dogs for the whole 2 weeks,
They
right?
do. And
breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything.
Exactly. We have a facility here that is not unlike the Canine Companions Motel. It has rooms, handicap-capable bathrooms in it, and the people just stay here. They're a captive audience so that they can devote 100% of their time with learning how to make that dog make their life easier. And so at the culmination of that whole evolution then is a formal graduation ceremony. I would encourage your readers and listeners to look at our website, cci.org, and take in a graduation. They're open to the public.
Okay.
They happen about every 3 months. And it's a very touching ceremony where the dogs that are getting turned in, that are matriculating from the puppy raisers, they come in that day, but then the graduating class meets up with the dog that they have been given, and so the puppy raiser walks across the stage, the one that raised the puppy, hands the leash over to the disabled person, all while pomp and circumstances playing in the background, and it's very touching event, but very worthwhile. So I encourage anybody to look at the website and come to one of those graduation ceremonies.
How cool. So tell us a little bit more about your role specifically and how you got interested in kind of what your main focus is here.
Thank you. I became a volunteer for Canine Companions after I retired from the Navy and then spent another 20 years in industry. And I was like so many people like me looking for something meaningful to do with my life, and stumbled on the Canine Companions as a volunteer. I've been a volunteer here about 3 years, and the great part of it is just getting to know the people. The mission is great, don't get me wrong, obviously the mission is great, but the people associated with this organization are just some of the finest people I've ever met, and I've met a lot of good people spending a professional career in the military. But my role here now is to serve as a veterans liaison to try to get the word out to the sizable veterans community here in San Diego about this service that's available to them. You know, it's surprising there's almost a quarter of a million veterans in San Diego County. Thank God not all of them are disabled, but there's a sizable number of disabled veterans in the area. And my job, along with a colleague who's a Canine Companions graduate by the name of Lance Weir, we go out in the community, and 2 individuals try to make the community in San Diego County aware that this service is available to them, because it's surprising and to me a little bit disappointing that we don't place more dogs with the veterans community, disabled veterans. Not that we're awash in dogs, we certainly aren't. There's a long waiting list for this, but we really want, I really want personally, and the organization does, to make sure that the veterans community in San Diego County is aware that this is something that's available to them.
Wow. All right, well that's very, very touching. So on the website, cci.org, can the disabled veterans apply right on the website, or how does the application process work?
They can. That's very important to make sure veterans understand that. There is, the website and cci.org is pretty intuitive. You go in, it says how to apply for a dog. It's a very short blurb you fill out on there and submit it. It comes here to the admissions office, and somebody reviews it, and they will get back to that individual and talk to them on the phone or make a phone call to them. If they get through that screening, they will then move to a hard copy, more involved application that requires medical substantiation and things like that. And then after that, then they'll have an in-person interview, and then they will go on the waiting list to get involved.
Okay, so you also have a program that I've heard of with prison inmates as well. So tell me a little bit about how that works.
Yeah, that's a very important program, and it's probably not quite as heralded and understood as the puppy raisers that we have here at Canine Companions. In the CCI organization, we have undertaken an association with several prisons in the country. There's 3 of them that are associated with the Southwest region, and one of them is right here in San Diego at the Miramar Brig at the Marine Corps Air Station Miramar.
Okay.
And so what happens there is, unlike the normal routine where our puppies are given to puppy raisers, civilian puppy raisers, they are put into the brig to work with the prisoners as a group. Obviously, the prisoners are very well screened to make sure there's no violent offenders and that sort of thing going on.
So it's a group of prisoners taking care of one dog.
Exactly.
They kind of trade off
they
back
do.
and forth.
And the dog spends its time in the brig, but about every 3 months it comes out and goes into another home for about a 2-week period, so that it can get socialized and see the other parts of life, you know, the stoplights and car horns and fire engines, etc., etc. But for the most part, they're being raised by the prisoners in the brig, and it's just a wonderful thing, really, because you think then that they've got this 8-week-old puppy that's going to, you know, be there until it's a 1.5 years old, and it's doing a rehabilitation process for the prisoners and inmates, and they feel like they're doing something very worthwhile. In the meantime, they're doing their job, getting the dog ready to go to a disabled person where the dog's going to continue to perform and do an outstanding job helping a person that has a disability.
And so there's a graduation process for the dogs, right? And I think you said that the dogs that come from the inmate, tell me exactly how that goes, but they actually graduate at a higher percentage rate,
you know,
right?
Canine Companions sets the bar very, very high for their dogs. Very unforgiving with issues that the dog may develop, or, you know, maybe the dog can't get used to loud noise. Maybe the dog can't work on the left side of the wheelchair and only wants to be on the right side of the wheelchair. Any number of things can disqualify a dog, and the dogs frequently then have to be dropped from the program. Not that they're not great dogs, but they're just not to the gold standard that Canine Companions adheres to. So it turns out that the success rate in the general population for puppy raisers is about 40%. And that means, you know,
high bar.
Yeah, very high bar. 6 out of 10 dogs aren't going to make it, and they're adopted back either to the puppy raisers. Maybe they'll find their way into the government as a bomb sniffing dog or as a drug sniffing dog, or adopted out just into the general populace. Obviously, great dogs still. But in the prison, Those folks seem to have a higher success rate. They run about 48%
Wow.
success rate in getting the dogs to graduate. So it's a win-win situation with the prison school.
Yeah, it sounds like with veterans and inmates, and you're doing so much here with Canine Companions all over San Diego. You're really touching lives, and it's incredible to hear about it. So I know that you do a lot of different types of donations and the general things like that, but are there other fundraisers or events that you do to kind of bring more awareness?
Yeah, certainly. We just finished the Canine Companions annual golf tournament that was held at La Costa, and that raised some money, some good money for the organization. And the next one out of the bag is something called Dog Fest, Rock and Roll. It's a national event that Canine Companions sponsors. The one here in San Diego is going to be October 29th.
Okay.
It's going to be at NTC Park in Liberty Station down in San Diego. And I'd really ask people to mark their calendars for that because it's a wonderful event.
And this is not just for disabled, or not just for the workers, or
no, ma'am.
for anyone in town.
That's right. Anybody
You don't
that's
even
got
have a dog?
You don't even have to have a dog. If you're interested in dogs, if you're interested in helping disabled people, this is a great event to come to. It's a 1.2-mile walk around NTC Park at Liberty Station, but that event is augmented then with vendors, dog-related vendors that you can come and look at various things that are being made and sold for dogs. We also have entertainment both on stage and around the walk loop that people will be able to enjoy. And then we're very happy this year. We're going to have two co-chairmen present. Lance Weir and his dog Augie. Lance is a graduate of the Canine Companions program, and he works with me on the Veterans Initiative. And he is great friends with Bill Walton, NBA legend, and both Bill, Lance, and Augie the dog are going to be in at Dog Fest this year. So really, I'd encourage people to go to cci.org again, look for Dog Fest. It doesn't cost anything to register to come to that, but it's very, very worthwhile. And what we ask people to do is form a team with neighbors, with friends, with co-workers, and then try to raise money amongst your other friends and associates and make it a competitive sort of thing. See who can raise the most money, and then all those proceeds go to Canine Companions. Last year we raised nearly $180,000 for the organization, and it's not only fun, it's just a great community outreach event.
So I was walking around earlier and I saw a little bit of extra special things that you have over on the other side there. So tell me a little bit about how that came about.
Well, it's interesting that one of the great benefactors of Canine Companions is author Dean Koontz, who lives in Orange County. But when he was doing research for one of his first books, he was going to write about an assistance dog. And so he just happened to get in touch with Canine Companions, came down here and talked to the pros here that work here, and was very impressed with the organization. Ended up supporting him in writing that book, and then one thing led to another. Dean decided to get a release dog named Trixie, and went crazy for the dog.
So a release dog is a dog that fails out of
the program, but it is not a failure. That's an important point to remember. And Mr. Koontz got that dog, and I loved it. The dog has since crossed the bridge, and he's got a second dog. And some of the people watching this may know that he's written several books about his dogs from the dog's perspective. They're very entertaining books. But Dean Koontz has been a great supporter of Canine Companions. In fact, he donated the monies to build at least half of this facility here. For certain, the area that is used for the team training, the rooms that are there, the great room and the kitchen that are used when disabled people go through team training.
Yeah, and you have Trixie's story time, right?
Yeah, it's wonderful. We can't thank that man enough. He's been tremendous for the organization.
Wow. And then especially all the volunteers too, that's incredible. So tell me what a volunteer has to do if they want to be a puppy raiser. That's the biggest question.
I'm glad you asked. If a volunteer wants to be a puppy raiser, they just have to go online, again, cci.org, and say, I want to volunteer. There's a pull-down tab for volunteer.
Is there a long waiting list for that too?
Not as bad as you might think.
Okay.
I always need puppy raisers. There are people that are repeat puppy raisers. Right here, one of the people you'll see on this video, Phillips, is on her 32nd puppy that she's raised. But other people are on their initial dog, and it's difficult, but it's very
And they never do more than one at a time?
No, one at a time. But you can have a dog at home as well. And so you can have your, I think you can have maybe a couple dogs.
Wow.
And so
probably get better training with your other dogs.
Well, yeah, I mean it's good for socialization and so forth.
Oh yeah. So. We're here with Kathy Phillips, and tell me a little bit about your role here in Canine Companions, and then what's going to go on here behind us today.
Happy to. We are here for puppy classes for Canine Companions for Independence to teach the puppy raisers how to teach their puppies all the 30 commands that the puppies learn while they are with their puppy raisers. The very first class is going to be what we call pre-kinder puppy, and it's puppies from 2 to 4 months old, and it's basically answering questions, starting to teach them to walk on a loose leash, how to sit, how to down, very, very basic commands. Then we go into kinder puppy, which is from 4 to 6 months, which is basically the same commands as pre-kinder, but we're starting to ask for more precision. Then we'll have basic class, which is from 6 months to 10 months old for the puppies, and they're starting to learn more advanced commands, heel and side, which are positionary commands to put the puppy on our left or right sides. They'll learn all kinds of different commands, and then we'll move into advanced class, which is from 10 months to when they turn in, and that's when we're asking them to put their paws up on a counter or on the wall with an up command, to learn to back up in a straight line to get out of a tight situation with their graduate. During the basic and advanced class, we will be having all the puppies on sit or down stays as a group, and it's pretty impressive to see 13 or 14 or 15 pups all holding a down stay together. In the advanced class, we move a little bit more, and we'll actually put food treats on the puppy's paws, and they have to leave them there. They can't do it. So each class just gets progressively more advanced.
Wow, that sounds challenging for the puppy.
It is, and for the puppy raisers.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then what happens, I mean, there's a lot of puppies here going on at once, so what happens when things don't go perfectly?
We laugh a lot. We do a lot of laughing. We do a little bit of crying once in a while, but mostly it's laughter, and we just go over it until the puppy and the puppy raiser get it.
All right, sounds great.
Great.
So make sure to check out cci.org and get involved in some way or another, and even if it's just the Dog Fest, which is going to be a huge fun event, make sure to check that out too. So thank you so much, Gino. It was such a pleasure being here at Canine Companions today, checking out the puppy classes and all there is to offer. I truly appreciate it, and I thank you so much.
Thanks, Amanda, and thanks so much to San Diego Lifestyle Blog for coming up here and taking an interest in this and putting out the word to all those folks that I'm sure are dog lovers and have a sympathetic heart in their point in their heart for